Yes, well, my name is James Kelly. I go by Jimmy, and that's the name I've answered to for many, many years. And I was born in Shannon, and then my parents moved to Quebec because the Depression was on. I was born in 1934, and that was during the Great Depression, you know. Well, I do my best to try and play the violin. I'm not a violinist, you know, a professional violinist, but I play the fiddle, yes. I learned it from, I always heard it. See, my father played it. That's my father's instrument. And there was a great violinist here, female violinist, Lisa Ornstein. I don't know if you're familiar with her. But anyway, she was an American person who lived in Quebec here. And she became familiar with the people in Valcartier and Shannon. And she taught, that's her name, Lisa Ornstein. I believe she's out west now in either Washington or the next state down there. And she was very instrumental in my learning to play the fiddle. But also, Rosita's brother, Blair, he was Blair Cack, he had started to play the fiddle. Well, I learned a lot from Blair and also from Lisa. They were all around here at the same time, you know. So, and apart from that, just practice, you know. My father, as I say, my father played the fiddle, but I never did until I got, yes, and after I retired from Bell, Canada. Rosita's brother, as I said, Blair, I remember he told me when we started, he said, you're going to play the fiddle. So I said, why me? You know, I had no, he said, because he said, I know that you can do it, he said. So he said, you're going to play the fiddle. He said, you know all the reels, and he said, I hear you jigging them, but you know, with your mouth there, you know, something like that. He said, you know all the tunes, and he said, because my dad played that. That's one of my father's tunes. And he said, there's no way that you wouldn't learn it. So he used to come out with his, well, let's say his wife at that time, and he'd come out every Tuesday night for one winter. And at the end of the winter, I was playing the fiddle. Because it sounds good. I like the sound of it. I never tried the guitar or any other instrument, you know. Just at that, and as I say, my father played it, and when we were young, when I was young, I mean, I remember we used to listen to Don Messer show, Don Messer and his Islanders. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Well, they used to be on the radio, and every night at supper time, they'd be Don Messer and Don Messer's Jubilee would come on, and we'd be having supper and we'd be listening to Don Messer.
They go with St. Anne's Reel.
And my dad just adored him. He thought he was a wonderful player, and he was. I have tapes by him here. Yes, before playing the violin, well, I wouldn't say I was a singer, but I could sing. To say that I was a great singer, no, I just a very ordinary singer, but I liked to sing. And people, they would get me to sing, and sometimes in We used to have little shows at first here in Shannon, you know, they weren't the Irish show, but, and got into the habit of singing songs, you know. And the older people here in Shannon had an awful repertoire, you know, an awful good repertoire of old songs. And we got to learn some of those, and liked to sing them, and people liked them, you know, so. See, the older people here, when they had a house party, well, nearly everybody sang, eh, Mom? Rosita's father there was a great singer, and her mother too. Now I don't play as often as I used to, but I would say I play at least every week, you know. I go in the room in there, I take the fiddle down and play a few tunes. Keep in shape a bit there, you know, and that. And then, of course, I play with Wesley pretty well all the time with him there. And Eric, I don't know if you know Eric. Played a lot with him. And Debbie had got me going up at the lodge there, and got in playing with them. So, it's just a gradual thing. Well, the most I play would be at Mont-Saint-Sacrement now, that's it. And the odd time at a house party. We do have house parties, you know, different ones. Different ones play different instruments sometimes. But like we could maybe go to Eric's next week and play with Eric. Or we'd go to Don Cax, Rosita's brother, and play with him. He accompanies the guitar. He's an expert guitarist. I play at the Elder Hostel. Play at Elder Hostel. But apart from that, usually at house parties, or if there's something special, we will, like the time we went into Quebec, there was a square dance at the Learning Centre in Quebec, and I played there. And Wesley did too. And Debbie was there too. Well, and I also play at St. Bridget's home with Wesley and some few others tomorrow. I was always lucky to be surrounded by talented people. Very lucky. So I consider it that always. My daughter, Catherine, she's a very good singer, a lovely singer, in fact, I should say. Good dancer. She teaches Irish dancing, in fact. And she always has what do you call, a teacher's part in the Irish show here in Shannon. And it's Irish dancing and singing. And I'm very proud of her. When my children were younger, we lived on the second floor of this house. And when we often had parties, you know, with our friends. And sometimes the children would find it a bit noisy, and they would come down here, but they could still hear the music and that. And I don't know if they could hear the singing still, but they could hear the music, and they just absorbed it, you know, just like I did when I was younger. To play the fiddle, you must hold the fiddle with your left hand normally under your chin, and there's a chin rest on every fiddle usually. But then you put your chin in that, and then you put the bow it's strung with horse, I think it's horsehair they call it, or the tail, horsetail hair. The bow is strung with that, and that's what makes the sound. If you drag the bow across the string, it makes the sound. E, I think that is. That's A. D. G. Okay, there is a sound post inside the body of the base of the fiddle, and that sound post controls it has to be properly placed. And you will go to a luthier, luthier in French, to get that placed properly. If it gets out of place, your sound gets distorted. That's it. That's about it. The strings all terminate here in this this rest. There's a name on it. It's called the tailpiece. I have them written down here. In French, they're called circado ou queue. Yes. So that's this here, this tailpiece here. To be a good violinist, you need to have patience first, a very good ear for music, and a good violin. It's most important of all, and a good bow. You need a bow to get the proper sound out of the string. And years of practice, yes. Yeah, but it's very satisfying, you know, and fulfilling when you succeed the first time that you get like the proper notes that you're trying to get, and you get them. It's a great feeling, you know. Well, it's like anything is like that. Of course, you're successful at something, because it's easy to be unsuccessful with the fiddle, I would say. It's not the easiest instrument, I don't think, to play. I only play by ear. You can give me a sheet of paper with a whole lot of notes on it, and I don't know one from the other. But if you jig a tune, da-da-da-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, then I can play that. It's all in the ear and not up here. Oh yes, I'm very, very proud to have played the fiddle of my father. And it always gives me great pleasure to play. I don't necessarily think of him every time I pick the fiddle up and play, but in the back of my mind, it's there. That's it. That's it. Yay!